Oh, there's so many cameras. Okay, I think we're live.
We're live?
I think we're
Okay.
live.
All right. Okay, we're live on Facebook, yes?
Yes, we're live on Facebook. We're live
Yeah.
on YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on
Oh,
Instagram.
we're live everywhere. Fantastic. Okay, right. Do we need to wait for a little bit of an audience?
We could do that. We could
Yeah,
definitely do that.
let's wait a short while. So we, as Chiggy said, we're streaming on more than one platform. I have two monitors here. I'm sure she's got several going on there. So hi to my Instagram people. Thank you for joining. I'm just gonna be looking between the two. So I don't have a professional setup, and we just said yes, let's do this, and we're here doing it, right?
Yes.
Hi guys. Okay, what do you reckon? Do you have an audience on Facebook? As I can't see from my end.
Numbers are 0, but I think like over time people will pop in. So
All right, let's start. Okay, right. So
ooh,
for
there's feedback. So there's
this,
feedback. Where's that gonna come from? Have you got your phone with the volume up so you can
mm,
hear me talking through your phone?
probably now turned it right down.
Okay. Oh, I can still hear off of mine. This iPhone is weird. Um, um, um,
Bear with us.
um. I'm a sound engineer, and this is absolutely melting my brain. You know what I'm gonna do? Because people will hear off of yours, I'm gonna go back here, and then do this. So if you talk,
Okay, does that sound a bit clearer? Are you getting any feedback?
you shouldn't be getting any feedback.
No feedback. No, I'm all good. My side.
Okay, Robin, is
All
that
right.
better?
There's feedback.
Oh. um. Hmm. It's better. Okay. Robin says it's better. Okay, cool. Let's go. That's it.
It's okay. Hi guys, thank you on Instagram for joining. Thank you everyone else on different platforms. Some of you will know Chiggy, some of you will know me. Chiggy and I met 2012 when we used to CrossFit together, and this beautiful being just bounced in. I was like, wow, like she's a unicorn. That's like your avatar almost, isn't it? Because this human here is so multi-dimensional, multi-talented, and you're going to resonate with me because there's loads of you out there like this, but you do not like speaking up about yourselves and your ventures and what you're doing. And I know Chiggy does that a little bit, but I'm coming to you today to pick her up a little bit, push her out of her comfort zone, and allow you to get to know her if you don't know her already. And if you do know her already, you might have an idea of what she does, right? And you might say, I really like her character because she is that you've got so many different facets, Chiggy, that you show. Let me share a few things that you do. I've made some notes. So she's very, very funny to watch. Okay, you must watch her. Go and follow her Instagram, people. It's at Elshik. And everyone else, friend request her. Go do it. She will not let you down. She's hilarious. Okay. And I've seen her evolve, and she's found her identity, and she's really stepping out. But you're still kind of in the closet a little bit. So we're going to give her a big shove. So help me give her that shove today, okay? She's very humble. There's no ego there. She could be having a conversation about 20 things at once, which I'm sure we're going to do today. She has her own company, Audiofi, and she puts your physical books into audio form. Okay. She has been and still is a PT. Is it a MoveNet coach? Have I got that right?
Yeah, MoveNat and BioFit as well. So I'm obsessed with movement.
There we go. And what's really lovely about her, it's the body's natural movement states. It's not even, are you going to do 3 bicep curls here and then do a shoulder? It's none of that. It's moving with the rhythms of your body. Okay. She's also quite an impressive DJ, right? You can find her mixes where, Chiggy?
Oh gosh, on mixcloud.com/the neopink,
Yeah.
theneopink.com, soundcloud.com for anything the neopink. basically all one word. I've just
Go for it,
done
yeah.
that. Branding.
There's these amazing light, glow in the dark eyelash things, so you can't miss her. Brilliant. The character's fantastic. The alter ego. She's a voiceover artist, and I mean, I can't even tell you how many more things she does, and she won't tell you, so I'm going to tell you, right? But what I really want to tell you is all of these things that you see about people, and this might apply to you guys too, is that you'll have an audience on any social media platform, and they may not necessarily buy from you, right? What you're offering might not be something that they're interested in buying, but they love your personality and they love your character. We're going to share a story here about Chiggy and her life and what happened, and either go buy her stuff, or if you don't want to buy her stuff, buy her a coffee. There's a link somewhere, right, Chig?
Just put it up now on StreamYard. I'm gonna do it
Thank you.
here.
Okay, and I will share this link later too on my link tree. Buy her a big fat bucket of coffee, right? Just buy her something, because she's well worth it, right? More than that, worth more than that. So let me jump in and ask Shiggy some questions, shall we? She's my African neighbor. I was born in Tanzania. She's in Kenya. So tell me, Shiggy, what happened from Kenya to get you here to the UK? Where did you
Oh
start?
gosh. Do we want the happy version or the real version?
Oh, rear and raw. Like, this is the thing, right? Because we were like, should we do this a little bit filtered, or should we go all out unfiltered? And anyone who knows me, unfiltered. So please, let's have that version.
Okay, so I'm born and raised in Kenya. I am Kenyan as they come, but also I'm Dutch because I had a Dutch Israeli stepfather who adopted me from the age of 2. So he's my dad. So if I say dad, it's him. If I say bio dad, that's another person, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, bio dad's the one that made me.
Right. Let me just ask you a question there. Did that ever cause an identity crisis for you?
It kind of did and didn't, because apparently when I was younger, I did ask about my biological father because my stepdad, my dad, was
Yeah.
as white as Christmas. And I'm not. I'm not even like a mocha. I
Right.
am
Right.
dark chocolate, right? So I asked, and many times it was ignored. Apparently, I pushed really hard at one point. I think I was probably 5 or something, and I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, I didn't like him, but I have
Oh.
zero recollection.
So you
No
must have been
recollection.
pretty young, and then you kind of had a visceral reaction to him, right?
It could have been. I feel like it was more downloading from my mom. Because I've noticed, and it did happen. We actually had a huge fallout later on in life. Every time I mentioned my biological father, like there was just this visceral, horrible, near
Mm-hmm.
violent reaction against
Wow.
mentioning he who won't be named. So I feel at that young age, I opted to remove it from my memory for the sake of survival.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so getting ahead of that, that's gonna come back in a little bit. But born and raised in Kenya, lived a kind of happy life, between my parents. My mom left the first time when I was like 2 or something to go check out if my stepdad was a decent human being. Turns out he was. They came back, got together, we all lived together. Moved to the UK when I was 6, 7, which is why I speak the way I do, because I was naturally just speaking Swahili. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about learning English. I didn't care about other
Yeah.
people. If my mom was there, that's all I cared about. Um, so that happened. I learned English because the teachers at school in Surrey, Leatherhead, they're like, oh, just ignore her at home until she speaks English.
Wow.
Trauma number 2. So
Wow. So listen. Okay. So I know that when people struggle with these things, they really get fearful of using their voice as an adult, right? Now you do voiceovers, you do audio work, you do show up in many ways. And so how did that affect you to start using your voice in your creativity and in your work?
um, it's a mask.
Mm.
'Cause, like, the way I live, I've got my cat and me, and it's been like this for 10 years, and I'm good.
Right.
I don't need much of anything because 'cause I'm quite happy
Mm,
being on my own. But if I have to go out and do stuff, I know how to show up. I know how to, present, and like I'm doing right now, there'd be an air of confidence, and you'd be none the
mm,
wiser to the things that have happened over
mm.
the last God knows how many years.
My
Um
my daughter has a word for people like you, actually
God.
like me as well. They're called antiverts. They are introverts, but that step out and can be extrovert. She calls them antiverts.
That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ambiverts, but yeah, because ambiverts are kind of a mix of 2, and antiverts, I'm like, I like that because if I have to, I can, but if I don't have
Yes.
to, I won't.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that actually. I'm really sociable when I'm out, but when I'm in, I'm like, people just stay away from me. And then when my daughter comes
Exactly.
home, I'm like, well, you're home. So I get it. Okay. Go for it. So how did that then? So it's a mask. So do you think that you step into an alter ego like you do when you're DJing? Because there's a whole lot of stuff going on when you're DJing. You're completely cutting free in a different vibration, if you like. Is that what you're doing because of this?
I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of things from childhood and just growing up, moving around a lot, no real form of stability.
Mm-hmm.
My parents dragging me into situations I really didn't want to be associated with. Dinner parties, that's where
Yeah.
it started. Dinner parties at home were just like, come, 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 Shiggy, come, 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 say hello to these oil oligarch people. And I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Why are you doing? I want to go playing with my toys. Ground me, please. Ground me again. I loved getting grounded.
Mm,
So yeah, I think it was that. My dad used to do this funny thing as a spectacle of because he was white, as I've said many
mm,
times already, and I'm black. And he would be
mm.
like, "Come, come, this is my daughter." And all these people would just be like, "What?" And she's like, "Yes, yes, this
Oh
is
my
my daughter." And I'll just be
gosh.
there like, "Hello, I am." But yeah, I didn't understand it then. And then over time, I'm just like, "Oh, hang on. This is tokenism for the good Lord."
Mm, mm,
But I never
mm,
accepted it. I just kind of went with it. I'm just like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, hi. I'm this dude's child. Okay, can I go? Can I go? Have I done the bit? Have I helped you sell things?
yeah, have
Okay,
I
fine."
entertained you enough? Can I leave? Gosh.
Exactly. So yeah, that was basically my childhood. It was good, beyond all those kind of weird little things. Um, I've been privately educated. We came back to Kenya. I was in a private school, English system through and through. Although it did have a lot of Kenyan kind of history and stuff in there, which was nice. Um, but beyond that, things kind of got a little bit weird when I started going into kind of secondary school. And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
the parents were not happy. The parents were up to their things. I was trying not to pay attention. That's probably why they sent me to be a weekly boarder at school.
Right, right,
So
right.
I wasn't in there the whole time. Um, but people
Are
talk
you
when
comfortable
you're in a private.
sharing top line about the things?
Oh, yeah, I'm about to go into it for sure.
Oh, go, 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 go.
So yeah, like being part of a tight knit kind of community, as it were. People talk, people see each other, like various locations. It's probably less of a thing to happen here in the UK and in Europe, but like in Kenya and like most places in Africa, right? If you're a part of, for want of a better phrase, affluent spaces, you tend to go around the same spaces quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a preamble to the fact that my friends were kind of like, "Dude, your dad like isn't with your mom at the coast," and I'm like, "What? What you mean?" Like, yeah, they're like, "No, your dad is not with your mom at the coast," and I'm just like, I didn't want to accept what they were saying, but I knew what they were
Yeah.
saying.
Mm-mm.
Because
Did
I
you have
wanted
an
a happy.
underlying, did you have an underlying feeling of what was going on, but you just didn't want to speak it out aloud to make it real?
Oh, for sure. Like, when people saying stuff, I just didn't want to accept it. I'm just like, yeah, no, you guys are talking weird stuff. It's probably his secretary, his VA, just making sure
Mm.
his business trip is okay. I'm pretty sure she did because I found photos.
Oh, oh, shit. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm sorry.
No, it's hilarious. Make it I'm doing it deliberately. Obviously, this is another coping mechanism. My
Yes,
therapist said, like,
yes,
"You have a
yes, yes.
very, very dark sense of humor around the most, like, darkest stuff." I'm like, "Yes, this is how I
Yeah,
manage things."
same,
Like, I've got
same.
a podcast, that's all it is, right?
Right, right.
So, go on.
I was going to say, so you're discovering these things. You're in the UK.
I was in
I'm
Kenya still. This was
Oh,
before I got sent to the UK.
this was before you came over. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So building a picture of what's happening. Okay,
exactly.
continue.
So I find these photos because there was a locked drawer in the house, and my mum learned from a very young age, or from my very young age, not to lock things around me because
Right,
I had only child syndrome until my brother came around when I was 8 years old, and I still have only child syndrome, where the world evolves around me at home. And if something is locked, I want to know why. I demand to know
right,
why. So my
right.
dad had this locked cabinet, and I'm just like, well, that simply won't do. So I picklocked it. I learned how to picklock in an afternoon.
How old are you when you're doing this?
12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got it, and then there was just a stack of photos, and I'm just like, "Oh, oh, oh, okay, okay, mom!" Just, like, showed her these things, and there was a fight. My mom and the mistress had a fight in a hotel because we would go swimming on the weekends at a hotel,
Mhm.
and I took photos of that as well, them fighting. I found one of those photos when I was going through my mom's stuff, and it was literally, like, a little stout bodybuilder, my mom, right? Because she was bodybuilding at the time,
Yeah, yeah,
versus this long leggy, like, pseudo, I wouldn't say Maasai, but very kind of just slight human,
yeah.
right? And she's, like, towering over my mum because my mum's I'm the same height as her, 5'5", 5'6", and this woman must have been 5'10", 6 foot.
Mhm.
So, yeah, pretty shocking. So all of that happened. My mum moved out. She moved in, which was not great, into the family home.
Okay. And where were you at this time? Were you living at home or had you gone with
I
your
was
mum?
I was living with my dad just because my mum's always had this thing from my grandfather is like the best thing you can give a child is a good education.
Right.
So she wasn't gonna mess that up,
Mhm.
and hold my dad accountable. So yeah, so I was a weekly boarder at the time in Kenya. So from Monday to Friday, I was at school. Over the weekend, I discovered nightclubs at the
How
age
old
of
were you?
13.
13. Wow. Okay.
So I used my mask to tell people I was older to get into nightclubs, and they didn't
Right.
care. And I'm just like, wow, this is easy. So, so yeah, so a lot of that happened, and I think that was probably a cause for why my parents both agreed that I should go to boarding school in the UK. And my dad added another caveat that I should be at least 2.5 hours away from London because he thought I was
Wow.
just going to turn into an absolute like alcohol induced, I don't know, nightclub maniac. I mean, that happened anyway, but like, um, that was the thing. It didn't happen at the age of 14, don't get me wrong, like, I was isolated then, but it happened later on. So, yeah.
So you ended up in the UK. Where is your
Yes.
mum at this point? Still in
She
Kenya?
had flown over to the US with the idea of creating a nest there for me and my brother.
Right.
So she did that first, and then I think, no, I thought it was, like, 5 months later, but it was a year and 5 months later, that's when I went to boarding school.
Right.
'Cause, yeah, she left in 1999, and then I was still at school, and then I left to go to the UK in 2001.
Right. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
sorry, I'm just, like
you're trying to recollect it. But meanwhile, you're with your stepfather,
mhm.
who is he pleased to have you there, or is he doing a duty, or what's happening with your relationship?
It was still the same, like, he was a very stoic, kind of staunch Israeli kind of character, if you can imagine that. I have failed to mention that he was a Holocaust survivor.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, he's seen everything. So
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation, it was what it was. He already had a previous marriage. So I was like, we were the second cluster. So he had
Mm-hmm.
three elder children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then obviously me adopted, and then my younger half brother. So we have the same mother but different fathers. So
Right.
he's mixed
Okay.
race.
Right.
Whew.
Okay. So then what happens when you get into your teens and you're going through this I'm going to do my own stuff kind of phase, because parents are around the world doing their thing, right? What's going on
Yeah.
with you?
So I got carted off to a school in York, in the middle of York, in the Yorkshire Dales.
Right.
Um, and fun fact, out of the 650 personnel at that school, I was the only black person there.
Wow. Okay.
So
What
full
is that?
masks.
Yeah, gosh, how is that like to learn to fit into someone where there's no one else that you can identify with, at least from a color perspective? Color.
I didn't fit in. People just accepted me because they had no choice.
Okay.
So I did a lot of stupid
Did they
things.
accept you easily, or was there any like jarring moments?
No, everyone pretty much accepted me for whoever I was. The girls in my year were cool. The girls in the year below were cool. The girls in the year above were cool. So it was a weird transition for that school because it was an all girls school.
Right.
Queen Ethelburga's college, if you want to know the level of like hoity-toityness we're at.
Mhm.
Um, and they were turning into a co-ed. So I think it wasn't yeah, it was lower fifth. So I was in upper fifth, and from lower fifth below, it was turning co-ed. So we were kind of like the last all girls
Mhm.
class.
Okay.
And it was pretty nuts. They got me to do some stupid things like claim I was a tribal princess because I had 5 ear piercings in my ears,
Did
and
you play
literally
along?
just oh god, did I? I got into trouble the next year because the headmistress, Mrs. Taylor, um, was a white woman from I don't know Scarborough or something like nearby. Just had no
Mhm.
association with people of color. And in the ICOM, bold as anything, just kind of like, Miss, I'm sorry, I can't take these out because I'm a tribal princess back home. And she's like, okay. And I'm just
Okay.
like, okay, this is I have to step into this. This has to be a thing. So other
Yeah.
teachers were trying to tell me to take my earrings. I'm like, sorry, miss, I can't. I'm a tribal princess back home, and these have to stay in. And
That's hilarious.
everyone left me alone. And it stayed until Mr. Das, the next headmaster, came over, and I got called into the headmaster's office probably about 3 weeks after he started at the school. And Mr. Das was from the South Coast, Kenyan Indian.
Right.
So the gig was up, right? So
Mm.
I go in
Mhm.
like, good morning, Mr. Das. Da, 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 da. He's like, hello, Shiggy, please take a seat down. I'm just like, okay. And he's like, so I heard you pulled a wild one over the last headmistress. And I'm just like, what you mean? Genuinely, I completely forgotten because it had been a year, right? Or it had
Mm.
been 10 months or something. And Mr. Das, what do you mean? And he's just like, and I was just like, oh.
Ew.
Oh, Miss Das, I can explain. I'm really sorry. It's just when I first came here, like all the girls, they said it would be funny if I did it. Like literally, I just kept on rambling all the stuff, and it was true. The
Yeah,
girls said it would
yeah.
be funny, and I thought it would be funny too. And like in all honesty, I thought Mrs. Taylor wouldn't believe me, but she did. And then I had to kind of run with it. And he's just like, "It's okay. You're not in trouble. Um, kudos for pushing through and sticking to the script. But you have to take them out." And I'm just like, "Yes, Mr. Das. I'm sorry, Mr. Das. Of
Yes.
course, Mr. Das." Just all out.
But you know what? Well done, your the girls that you were at school with for accepting you as you are. Because I know that for myself, growing up, actually in more of a mixed environment, I faced a lot of racism for being
Mm.
a different color. Like a lot, a lot. I was bullied for it and everything. So well done, those girls, for accepting you the way that they did. So amazing. So what I'm interested to find out is when you're growing up and there's so many different identities going on here. It's trying to figure out who you are because you've come away from the homeland. Actually, I talked about this in my last video about how cultures, traditions, adapting to new countries really can affect us. So you're trying to find your identity, you're trying to be cool with it. How do you start discovering what you're interested in and what your passions are? You've just been picked up from one country, landed in another. Whilst you're learning about yourself, how are you also discovering about your passions and what you're good at and stuff like that?
I can thank my mum for this because she realized she had a child who had an infinite amount of energy forever and ever and ever. So she just threw me at everything to see what
Right.
stuck.
Mm,
Everything stuck. All right.
everything's
So in Kenya, I started playing the cello at the age of 6 only because there weren't any clarinets left. Right. It was like a British bulldog run to just like get what you need, get what you want. Initially, I wanted a flute, and then I wanted a clarinet, and then I thought, okay, fine, I'll deal with a violin, and then I was left with a cello, and I was just like,
right.
God, okay. So I started playing the cello, did really well. I started playing the oboe as well towards the tail end of primary school. I was in the orchestra. In the orchestra, typically you only have one number one to the conductor. We had two because I was the other number one. So you had the violin one at the left hand of the conductor. I was cello one at the right hand of the conductor, and we both had our hands shook and we stood up and bowed with the conductor at the end of performances. So music was huge, sports was huge, netball, hockey, whatever they did, gymnastics, martial arts. I started Shotokan karate at the age of
Mm-hmm.
7.
Wow.
So
Okay.
all of that stuck. All of that stuck. Going
Yes.
into secondary school, into boarding school, I moved to Taekwondo. Helped start a basketball team at the school.
Wow.
Did netball, did hockey, did drama. So literally everything stuck. So I just
Okay.
carried on until go on.
So what's interesting about Chiggy is, and actually lots of people, when they say, what's my purpose? What's my passion? What am I supposed to be doing to make money? Look back. Everything that she's just told you she's done, you still do in some way, shape or form. And you enjoy them, you're passionate about them, you can make money from them, you can put on another mask, have another alter ego in some of them, right? So you can play in all of those in a really diverse way, can't you? So this makes sense. I didn't know this. So this makes sense about why your interests are so vast, and they are still energy driven, aren't they? There's a lot of energy in everything you do. Even when you're doing
Hugely.
voiceovers, there's so much energy in it. So much energy.
Exactly. I actually do my voice over standing up. That's a standard thing anyway. Some people do it sitting down, but I find it's harder to keep your diaphragm open when you do a voiceover sitting down. So like right now, versus like when you're up and like you can just energetically throw things up and down from your diaphragm. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
always energetic, always ADHD. I need to get my power supply because I forgot, and it's like looking at me kind of going, hey, your laptop's about to
Do
die.
it now. Do it
So
now. Okay, right. And I'm
yeah,
just going to tell everyone else who's just joined what's going on. Okay.
I'm gonna let you solo for a second so people can't see an empty screen. Ha.
All right. So if you've just joined us on whichever platform you're on, and hey, Instagram, I'm looking at two cameras right now. Shiggy and I have been friends for a while. She's so multi-talented, and she represents a lot of people that I come across, particularly when I'm business coaching, right? And they have so many interests. It's like, where do I hang my hat? And I'm like, just start with one and just merge all the rest, right? But what's interesting is she's so humble, and some of you watching this are going to be like this, so humble. She doesn't sell herself, yet there are things that she wants, and she's highly entertaining as well. So what I was trying to do, well, hopefully we're doing this, is tell a story about Shiggy, because there are so many facets to her. But also sometimes when we're following people on social media, we might not want to buy anything from them, right? We might not want to buy the stuff they recommend or their products and services, yet they're still on our feeds, right? So if they're on our feeds and we're enjoying them, why don't we do something to show gratitude? So Shiggy's posted a link in the comments, and hopefully she'll do it again, or she'll give us a link, right? Buy her a
Yes.
coffee. Buy her a coffee. She's got some amazing dreams that she wants to be doing. So what I would love to embrace more, not just only in this, but in whatever state we're in, wherever we are, if we appreciate someone, show your gratitude in a way, either by liking their stuff, sharing their stuff, commenting on their stuff, you know, buying them a coffee, whatever it is, show some gratitude if you're not buying their stuff, because they still got you on the journey, right? You're still on the journey with them. And what I really wanted to share is Chiggy's diverse background of the things that she's experienced that have led her to where she is right now. And you guys are going to resonate, and we're going to get into more juicier stuff. We haven't even touched the surface. I got a feeling this is going to be a long one. We haven't even scraped the surface, because not only has she been through all of these, there's tons of resilience, discovery, repositioning herself in her life because of revelations. And we're going to come to that in a moment. So far, there's the link. Buy Chiggy a coffee, please. Go ahead and buy her a coffee. Show some love and support for her being very open and raw about her life. She's very comical about it too. So we've got to the place where you're doing all of these things as a child: music, you're learning martial arts, you're getting involved in sport, which all are part of your life right now. Take it from there. What's next?
So, so the all-girls school was a thing. For A levels, I moved down south where it's a bit warmer, to Eastbourne, so at St. Bede's, it was actually called, it's now just called St. Bede's or Bede's School. It was called St. Bede's the Dicker, which I can never say with a straight face but the whole area was actually called Upper Dicker.
Oh, that's
All right, so we
hilarious.
had Lower Dicker and Upper Dicker, which was hilarious. So yeah, I moved there, and it was amazing because it was very much more multi cultural.
Mm-hmm.
So I say very much. There was probably about 7 people of color, a broad range of East Asian folks, a few South Asian folks as well. And just generally, like the headmaster was I was about to say Kiwi, but New Zealander. So far more kind of diverse outlook, which was great. I loved it. It was very chill. That's when I started learning music technology. And that's actually when I
Right.
started DJing, because I was a full boarder. So, the entire term time I was there. Um,
And
we
your
had a
music style is quite unique. So had that developed from there, the influences at that time, or where did it all start? What were you playing when you started out? Was it like commercial stuff?
I was playing everybody else's music. So the
Mm.
way it started was, we had these discos at school, and we had a disco Dave, literally a disco Dave.
Everyone's
And
grown up with a Dave, haven't they?
the
Think a
little
high one.
mobile rig. So, me and my friend Stanish, just a good, like a guy friend, we were studying music tech, and we were just like, this music's terrible. Like, he was into trance, and from the amount of traveling I did as an unaccompanied minor, I discovered drum and bass at the age
Mm,
of I think it was around 12, 13 again, because I was just going through it. And
right,
music was my outlet. So my parents, both of them, whenever I traveled, they were just like, what do you want to buy? And I'm like, music. Like, I remember one time my mom let me loose in a music store, and I bought $200 worth of music, which
wow.
I still have today. Just CDs of like this,
Really love
Busta
that. Love
Rhymes,
that.
Janet Jackson, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I had a huge collection already. By the time I was just like, this DJ's terrible, and Stanish had a collection, so we decided to do a disco ourselves. And that was my first entrepreneurial venture, I suppose. And we did it on, one person lent me their CD man. Do you remember those?
I do.
So I
Yeah.
had one CD man, he had one turntable. Oh no, we had two CD players. So two CD man. So two friends lent me
Yeah.
their CD players, and a whole bunch of, like, everyone who attended had to pay £1 to wear what they wanted. And It was in the school dining hall that we decided to make the venue because it would be bigger. Because I was studying
Nice.
music technology, I was such a teacher's pet. It was terrible. Learning manipulations from parents is terrible. Don't do it. But I bossed it.
It works.
Um,
It works.
got a whole bunch of music tech, got a whole bunch of like just the speakers and the cables because I was already studying music technology anyway. So we basically had a disco with two CD players, a huge like mobile mixer, which wasn't a DJ mixer, and Stanish had his turntables. And we
Right.
raised £450.
Nice. And
So it
that was
was a
your
huge
first,
success.
was that your first experience of making money doing something you loved?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
my first experience of making money, seeing people happy. So that was the first time I
Right.
understood the concept of um I love listening to music, and then when I find a happy mix or something that makes me happy and I share it, and then those people are super happy, then I get
Mm,
validated in my happiness. But it's not
mm.
like, I need them to validate my happiness. It's like I'm already happy. I want to
Yeah,
give
yeah.
it to you, you know.
Yeah. Amazing. And that is one of the biggest things, isn't it, that we forget as business owners, that everything's emotion driven. And if you can do that to someone, for someone, give it to someone, you're winning big time, aren't you? Music is a beautiful way to do that because you can just get lost in it. It's such a big emotion driver, isn't it? Like if someone plays a song, you know what happened in your life when you heard that song, right? It just takes you
Exactly.
back. It's like a time traveling when you listen to music. So right, you know how to make money. You've discovered you can do it by being a DJ. What happens from there?
So I figure with my music technology, maybe I should do a degree in it and do something with it because, it was the highest um thing out of the A levels. I think I got an A in music technology, an A in media studies, a B in art by one freaking point, and a C in IT. It like that will never go. Like the fact that I had 114 rather than 115, I could have had three A's and a C, but I got two A's, a B, and
Wow.
a C.
Let it go. Let
Um,
it go.
yeah, I've let it go. So I went to Brunel University, basically, to study music technology, and discovered it was creative music and technology,
Right.
right?
Got
Semantics, like that kind of stuff is really important, I discovered, because they're like, oh, you need to be a grade 8, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't believe in grades. And I played cello. I was still playing the cello. I was grade 8 level, but I had only did a grade 5 exam just to please my cello teacher because she knew I
right.
hated it. And she's like, can you
Mhm.
just at least please do this? I'm like, what's the highest grade I can get before I need to do stupid music theory and like talk about the Baroque and Renaissance period and this and that? And she's just like, grade 5. I'm like, okay, ace that, not a problem.
Right.
So it was music. The degree
Right.
was just basically like classical music with improv, which I enjoyed. The improv was fun.
Mhm.
But I was annoyed that access to the really amazing music studio was reserved for the multimedia and technology people. And I'm like, but
Mm.
I deserve it, not you. And they're completely different departments, completely different.
Right.
So I blagged my way into my first job as a sound technician at the student union nightclub.
Where are you living?
I literally just
You're in London, are you? You're back in London,
Oh
are
yeah,
you?
yeah. I've moved up. I've moved to London, and now I'm in Uxbridge. So it's at
Uh,
if
okay.
no one knows
North
London,
West.
Uxbridge is not London.
No. But
Uxbridge
it
is
just
Middlesex.
I used to live in Middlesex, so I know Oxford.
And
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
it's West London, and I'm like, no, Ealing is West London.
Yeah.
Uxbridge is Middle Earth. But I digress. Sorry, lost train of thought. So yeah, so I'm out on the Uxbridge campus because they had one in Austerley and a few other places, and they kind of
That's
just
right.
just shrunk it all to Uxbridge. And I basically blagged my job into a sound engineer. I put so
Mm,
much trash on my CV. I'm surprised people accepted it, but it goes to show you people don't really
yeah.
read CVs. And they interviewed me as well, and I blagged my way through that, and I got the job. I'm like, crap, now I need to actually do research on how to do half the stuff I said I could do.
Yeah.
And by
I
that time, Google wasn't that great.
no.
This was 2003. 3.
Yeah.
So like Google was still a baby. Like like yeah, it wasn't a thing. So I had to go to the library and go look at paper books to go and research stuff. But yeah, so I blagged my sound engineer job, and after a while, so by this time my DJing, I had my own little CD decks in my room, and I'd mix all the time, and I blagged my way into a job as a DJ as well, basically because I was harassing the crap out of the DJs when I was drunk. So,
Right, right.
but also it's like, oh god, you have to put this song on like on the Friday nights where they could do more broad range like dance, like decent dance
Yeah.
music, not the commercial chart stuff. And I'd be going to HMV, spending all my money again on
Mm.
vinyl, and I'm like, you need to put these on. They're like, I don't have it. I'm like, I do. Here, play it.
Take it.
So I was
You went
giving
out
these guys my
raving.
vinyl.
You went out raving with a box of vinyl to give to the DJ so they'd play your music.
It was my office. Like, I was the sound engineer of the nightclub that they were playing in. So,
Right,
yeah, I actually
right.
sometimes beforehand, before like a sports night out, because I was still playing hockey, and before I got horrendously drunk, I would like go to my room, get my little crate of stuff that I wanted the DJ to play, come into the office at like 5 in the afternoon, put it somewhere, go back out, go be a hockey player, come into the nightclub, and then I'm just like, James, I have music for you. And he's like, Christ, no, not again. I'm just like, play these. How they didn't get stolen is beyond me.
No, but there's a lesson here, right? So because something I come across a lot is people are, I said, oh, have you tried this? And they'll be like, yeah, I've done it. How many times did you try it? Oh, once or twice. But what is showing up here is persistence, right? Persistence, getting in people's faces, doing it consistently, and just saying, I'm here for it, right? Which a lot of people do not do. And when I was on a coaching call last night and I was saying, have you done this? Yeah, I've done it. So where's your clients? The clients aren't there because there's no persistence. And if you're really passionate about someone, you're going to be in someone's face, right? And I can imagine you, Chiggy, not doing that subtly.
No, and that's kind of
Because there's some
it's
cheek,
an issue.
it's playful, and it's more, rather than being just the annoying one, you do bring a lot of fun with it. And
Yeah.
someone's more likely to give you that opportunity when you're showing that side of you than, politely knocking on the door. It's like, be yourself in that situation. Did you get the DJ gig from the back of that?
100% yes.
Yeah.
From the so this is the crazy thing, right? With the DJing stuff, I pushed like to get there, and then I just had a real issue with the way the Friday nights were going, because I think they were called Elements at the time, and there weren't that many people showing up, and I'm just like, but the music on a Friday night should be banging. Like, the music should be like, people should be wanting to come out here, not going to what was it called at the time? Oceanas in Uxbridge, right?
Yeah.
So for reference for people, Oceanas is one of the super clubs, a completely commercial super
Mm,
club body
mhm.
in the UK. I can't remember what the overarching umbrella company is called, but they had um I think 8 super clubs across the UK or something.
Yeah. And the capacity was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was a passion. Yeah, so it was a 3,000 capacity venue was on average what they had, and there would always be 3 rooms, always. So you
Right.
had the main room, then you had the cheese room, and then you had the R&B room.
Mm.
They always had that. So I also worked on one of those doing security, but we won't go into that today. Um,
Yeah, no,
so yeah,
no,
so
done. Gosh.
one of the many things. So basically, as a manager of the venue and as a DJ, I basically twisted people's arms again to get the Friday night back up. They wanted to do it anyway, but I didn't have anyone with the kind of like chutzpah to kind of go really hard into it. And I was just like, 100%, let me throw my whole being into this. And a couple of the guys that I was DJing with, Mark and Elliot, like we're all just really excited about the idea. We structured it so, between us, we'd probably do 2.5 hours each across a kind of 6 hour night. And
Mm.
it was, yeah, it was night and day. So it was again another proof of concept that
Yeah.
just having the drive and the focus to wanting to do something led to people
Yeah.
actually like reciprocating the give.
And actually, I'm going to say, noticing that something different was required, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to say this again, you guys out there, this is why I'm saying just follow this story because there's loads of golden nuggets in there. You all have found that little thing that's missing, but you're probably not acting on it, right? You jumped in with both feet, right? And you're like, hey, I'm here. Come on, we're going to do this, right? It's going to work. And the enthusiasm of that does make it work. Now, let me ask you something. At this point, what's going on with your family? Like, where's your family in this? Are you getting family support? Are you living on your own? What's going on? Because it's really important, because other people who are really hiding out there and not doing what they're supposed to be doing have got lots of support, right? And they're not doing it. And I think part of, and I've been to ask this before, what motivates you? I said, it's me, myself, and I. There's no
Mm.
one to catch me if I fall. I have to make it work. What was going on with you? Was that where you were at?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So the kind of drive and focus with the nightclub was because my parents stopped financially supporting me at uni.
Mm. Okay.
So at the time, I had built up a huge savings reservoir just
Mm.
because, like, my plan was to finish uni and then go to Brazil and do capoeira for a couple of
Ah,
years.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So this is a recurring theme, by the way. The whole reason why this thing is happening is basically because of a similar thing like that I want to do now,
Mm.
but with different reasons behind it. But yeah, so I'd saved up a lot of money, and then my dad was like, "I'm not paying for university anymore. You have to get a job." I'm like, "I've got two," and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, well, you need to do another one to pay everything." I'm like, "We're not in the 1950s. I didn't want to say 1940s, but like we're not in the 1950s. Like things don't correlate anymore. Like you can't have a job
Mm.
on side of university. Like it doesn't happen."
Mm.
Um, but he was just like, "I'm not paying anymore." And I think that's just because between my mom and my dad, they were obviously having more issues. So my mom couldn't really financially support me because she was still trying to build her nest in the US. So like you said, I was on my own. So I was just driven by dopamine, um, things that make me happy that pay as well. I'm just like, okay, well, this pays. And at the beginning of each student
Stop there,
year,
stop
I
there. Stop there a second. What you just said, things that make me happy that pay, right? That's what all of this is about, right? Because now we're in a situation in the world where people are going back to work, to jobs they don't like, that they're not happy in. And you are proof of the pudding that you can do things that make you happy and that pay, right?
Mhm,
Get you where you
exactly.
are. And like when you are in a place where you're not supported and you don't have your family there, you are going to be extra curious about the world, about how you can make that money, right? Hence why you've done so many different things, right?
Exactly.
Did one thing just lead to another that lead to another, or were you always looking for the opportunity?
No, it was definitely a case of chips were falling and I was catching them. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because if I don't,
Okay,
we're
go
gonna
for it.
be here for like two
It's
hours
going to be here.
because
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same, but I wanted to understand the background because obviously, you know, I'm going to repeat what I said before is people are always saying to me, where is my purpose? You've come from it, right? And Shiggy's a perfect example of it. Everything she's done in her past is what she's doing in her future and currently doing. And you make money out of it, right? But the reason we're doing this, and again, Shiggy, if you don't, is your link up? Yep, your link is up. If you are enjoying listening to this, buy Shiggy a coffee. Like not your little mini sizes, like a big bucket full. Just buy her a coffee because she does lots of things, but this story alone is going to help you in many ways, particularly the part where I think we're just about to get into, right?
yes. So we've
Right.
had a lot of fun with the kind of happy-go-lucky tenacity, the tenaciousness. I'm trying to do this whilst typing at the same time on an iPhone that I never use, which is hilarious. Have I done it? Yeah, I should actually copy and paste that, but okay, cool. So, um, tenacious life stories aside, which I can repeat out the wazoo, it's all fun. But from I think from about 2014 14 till now. Um, I call it really annoying, and I need to stop calling it really annoying because it's more a case of unfortunate. I think the annoying thing is my coping mechanism with it. I basically lost four close family members within succession of each other. So my uncle, he's my not my youngest uncle, my second youngest uncle. So out of my mother's cluster, there were four. There was technically six, seven, eight. There's technically eight of them. But the closest four were across, mothers that were closer to me because my grandfather had four wives, so big family. But my second eldest uncle passed away in 2013, I think. Yeah, and because I wasn't hugely close to him, it didn't affect me too much. But like, a death is a death is a death.
Mhm.
And it drove a rift of connection through the family, albeit temporary. Um, that's what kind of went through, and my auntie, my youngest auntie, who's only like 4 years older than me, reached out to me. She found me through my social media when I was a fitness trainer at the time at Pure Gym, and
Mm,
a Pure Gym manager called me to tell me that this woman was trying to get in touch with me. And I'm just like, what the hell? And they're just like, apparently she's your auntie and her name's Jessica. And I'm just like, holy crap. Yeah, no, give me her details. Like, what the
yeah,
hell
yeah.
is going on? So she told me that my uncle had passed away. And that broke me because I'm like, oh crap. I was meant to go see him in Texas and stuff, but it didn't happen because I was too busy trying to do the thing of like, be
Life.
self-sufficient and build stuff up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but still being kind of quite lost, right? So I was like, I'm always capable of doing stuff, but the reason why was never really there, and it still really isn't. But that happened, and I sent my condolences and everything, but I couldn't fly over because I couldn't justify the costs and everything, which was sad. And then 2015, I'm looking, I've got my closer family members' obituaries, not obituaries, what are they? Book things. That's book things. Them.
Okay.
Um, I have
A
them
bit.
there because obituaries. There you go. I'm really bad with them things. So December 2015, my grandmother fell in the bathtub and basically her brain swelled.
Wow.
So yeah, so she was in the hospital. And just through poor communication, I mean, we're talking three different languages here. My mom called me and told me that my grandmother had passed away because they were on a do not resuscitate option at the
Okay.
hospital. So my whole world got torn wide open, and we were both crying and da 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 da. Da. And then within 24 hours, um, my uncle's wife calls me and says, "Oh, your grandmother's out of hospital." And I'm just like, "What? Wait, is she alive or is she dead? Because I cannot emotionally handle what's going on right now." And they're like, "No, no, no. Like, we decided on a do not resuscitate if it was needed, but obviously that didn't get translated through." And I'm just like, "Okay, cool." I called up my mom. She's like, "Yeah, I know." And I'm just like, "Wow." That was the beginning of things to come between me and my mom because like we weren't seeing eye to eye. But then my grandmother very powerfully decided in June, yeah, in June, July, that she'd done her time. She was good. She had had enough. So she woke up, did the breakfast thing, and she said, "I'm tired. I've had enough. I'm going to sleep." And that was
And
that.
she,
She went to bed and never woke up again.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, that was insanely powerful being told, like, oh yeah, she'd made peace with everything and she was good. And I'm like,
She
yeah,
done it on her terms, not lost because something was taken from her. Yeah. Amazing. Okay.
exactly. It would be important to put here that my grandmother got ran over by one of her prized bulls when I was 5 years old, and she had her ribs completely crushed, right?
Wow.
Fractured. She was in an iron lung, right?
Wow.
And survived.
And then she commanded the attention at that time to say, I'm going when I'm ready. I go on my terms. Wow. That puts in perspective why it's so powerful. So uncle's gone.
Mhm.
Grandmother's gone.
Yep,
What's
so
what other loss did you experience?
little story around that. We fly over, my mother and me and my brother, we fly over to Kenya to go and lay her to rest. And I get put through 2 weeks of basic abuse from my mother. So verbal hazing, like threats to abandon me in Kenya, blah blah blah, like all these things because my mom couldn't handle the situation very well.
Mm-hmm.
We had a fight, and this is when I stopped working as a bouncer because she was in my flat. She was here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I don't know who you need me to be for this funeral thing. Like, I am here for you. I'm your daughter. You are her daughter. Like, you have a lot of stuff to do, and I just want to be supportive. And she didn't want to talk about it. Um, and she just basically said, "You're not too old for me to put you over my knee and spank you." And I'm just like, you put me through martial arts since I was 6 years old. This is a very silly statement to tell a 30-year-old or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
29-year-old or whatever who's been a bouncer for 10 years. Like, are we having this conversation? And I just
Mm.
laughed and said, "That's not going to happen. I'd like to see you try." And she did. And I put her in a headlock, which is the strangest thing. Like, we were fighting and she was trying to raise her hand at me, and I just kept on doing redirects, just like, putting her
Oh,
into like an
wow.
angel hold and a goose hold. This is before I did jujitsu, by the way. This was pure
Right.
door work reactions. And then you're not going to see it on here, but I have a mark on my neck that constantly reminds me of the time she tried to pull my throat out. And this was at
Wow.
this time. Huge
Okay.
fight. And I'm just like, I don't want to get hurt and I don't want to hurt her. I'm not a puncher. I hate punching people. So I literally just, had her head here, pulled her head down and just put her into a guillotine like hold like that. And I told him, like, you're gonna fall asleep before you can like rip my throat out. So I highly advise that you stop what you're doing. And she's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to stop first. I'm just like, I can feel your like your blood rate is dropping and the force is getting very thin. You need to stop. She's like, da 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 da. I'm just like, fine. And I just kept on just going. I'm just like, I know what I'm doing. I really don't want to do this to you. I'm crying, by the way, because this is a massive like, what the F is going on?
Yeah.
And eventually she lets go, and because I'm on my back on my bed, I just kick her away to the wall, and then I just have myself up in a position of like, I need to defend myself kind of thing. So she walks off into the living room and goes onto Facebook and tells everyone that I'm abusing her. And everyone in the family starts calling me, kind of going, dude, what the hell's going on? Are you okay? I'm just like, yeah, why? What? Because I blocked her off of Facebook 4 years prior. And they're like, your mom's saying you abused her and stuff. I'm just like, oh, you should see my throat right now. Like, she
Mm.
physically attacked me, not the other way around. So I'm not gonna go like huge into it, but that was the kind of tone that I had throughout the entire funeral journey back down to Kenya. Um, and she kept on doing it, just kept on with the verbal hazing, this, that, the other. I actually had to put my grandmother into the ground because she didn't show up.
Wow.
All right. And everyone's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Mask. The big
Mm.
samurai mask, the big Afro
There's a
warrior
lot of
mask was
masking
on.
going on in your whole life. My gosh.
Yeah. And they're just like, how are you not breaking? I'm like, I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know how to break. Like, I
Mm.
want to, but that's not going to help anything.
But
So,
I think you said it at the beginning. You've been surviving and you found ways to cope. And you've been
Mhm.
doing that your entire life. And you've done anything that it takes to keep you protected, right? Keep you alive, keep you protected, keep you earning money, doing all the things. So it's become part of both a great ability to have, but also, I can imagine you probably put a bit of a wall around you until certain
Oh yeah.
things happened.
Oh yeah. So I had that, and when we all got on the plane, I kept very quiet with my mother until we got on the plane because I'm just like, I don't need your drama. But after this, I am not talking to you. Like, this is a disrespecting space, and I don't want to be associated with you anymore. Like, you physically abused me, you've mentally abused me, you've like made my life a living hell, and I've lived my life without you so far, right?
Mm.
I don't need this. Like, I know people say like your family, blah blah. I'm like, no, F that.
Yeah, yeah,
You are
agreed.
being excommunicated. So
Mm.
I left the airplane when we landed back in the UK. I said bye to my brother on the flight back. Didn't really talk to my mum. We crossed paths, but I just didn't do anything. And because I had an EU passport and my mum had a US passport, I just went straight through the biometrics, and that was it. I switched off my phone and went home. And then just
Right.
I didn't care. I'm like, you guys deal with your stuff. You think like, it's the UK. The UK 's safe. You'll be fine. I'm gone.
Mm.
So that happened, and we kind of talked again after maybe like 10 months or whatever. And then she started getting really friendly and things. And I'm just like, this is highly unusual, but okay. If she can respect boundaries, that's fine. Um, she flew to Ireland in 2018, December 2018. And my auntie was like, hey, your mom's flying over. You should come over, reconcile your differences before she flies over to Kenya. I'm like, she would rather like eat glass than go back to Kenya. What is going on? So I'm just like, fine. If the flights are cheap, I will. And there was a BA flight for £40. I'm like, God damn it. Okay, fine. So I went over. Again, it was horrible. Again, with the hazing and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of it, I'm just like, you know what? This is a very weird situation. I'm not comfortable with what's going on. Something is happening. Like, that kind of intuitive, just like,
Mm.
So I
Mhm.
said sorry. I apologized to her for everything that happened around my grandmother's funeral. And she's like, that's all I wanted. And I'm just like, okay, you can have it. But like it was easy to do, but at the same time, I was just like, this should be the other way around.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I
But
have marks.
there was a reason why you were doing that at that time, wasn't it? It had
Yes.
nothing to do with who should be saying it first.
No, like I pride is the biggest killer, and my family has a lot of it.
Mm,
Because we are, I didn't mention this. I don't really want to mention it, but I'm going to mention it in passing and not kind of expand on it. We are a very governmentally involved family.
mm.
That's it. So pride is a killer. So after that, my mum went to Kenya. She had fun, took lots of happy pictures, and I'm just here going, this is so messed up. What is going on? Like, this is very out of character. But I forgot about it. I'm just like, okay, maybe she's just, having a shift, and she wants to do things. So that was January 2019. And I'm now starting my audiofi business because I had a business partnership that went to crap. This is why I said we have to cut things off, because we'll be here for 2 hours. I've
Yeah.
left out these things. I did a business partnership with a climbing company and outdoor adventure thing, but the characters weren't right, and our moral levels and values weren't right. And I was just like, again, boundaries, they're not being respected,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
funny considering the name of the company. I left and then started Audiofi just on a whim because a friend was like, I have these audio files and I need them to be made into an audiobook. And I'm just like, yeah, give me them. Like, we're gin buddies. We go and drink gin
Yeah.
and stuff and have fun. And I'm like, I will do them for free. Give me the files. What is this? I need to understand. Is this something
Yeah.
that I've overlooked? Yes. So we created a audiobook that's on Audible now on ACX. It's called The Money Shot. Shameless plug by Damien Fogg.
Mhm.
And I did that in my pajamas at home because I was just like, this is insanely easy. What the hell? And he's like, do you want to make it a business? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And that was basically how
That was
Audiofi came
the
into
beginning.
existence.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And again, I'm going to go back to the thing that we said earlier, is that the opportunity shows themselves and you just caught them, or you
Yep.
were just aware to them, which most of us aren't. We'll be like, oh, no, 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 it's not quite for me. But at least you explored them, which a lot of people don't do. So it's 2019, isn't it? And this is the big year for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I was in a failing partnership as well. Relationship, that's what you call them nowadays. So that, like, I had a dude living in my house with his son, and I am in a one-bedroom flat. All
Wow.
right. Me and my cat, it's busy. Me, my cat, the guy, and his son, it's like, that's a lot. It was a lot. But I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, we'll make it work. He was about to get kicked out of his place because he was in huge amounts of rent arrears. And I was just like, my compassionate heart was like, I cannot see a kid be homeless.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
wasn't even him. It was like, I just the kid, like, because he's such a good kid. And like, after what I've been through as a kid, right?
Mm.
Obviously, like, there's that kind of wounded child
Yeah,
that just
yeah, yeah, exactly.
wanted to protect people. So I'm just like, no, 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 just move into my place. Like, we'll figure it out. You can pay half my rent. And because I don't pay much, like it was easy. It was not easy. It was not easy. But I weathered it. I'm just like, we'll fix it, we'll make it work. I believe in a thing called love. All that kind of stuff. And then I got a very, very strange call from my stepfather through Facebook Messenger. He was calling me through Facebook Messenger on the 6th of May, 2019. We just finished watching Avengers Endgame with me, my partner, his son, and his ex-wife, because we're all decent friends and stuff. And they'd left, and I pick up the phone and I'm like, I have to take this because my dad doesn't know how to use Facebook. He's figured out a way to use it. And
It means it's
that's
important. Yeah, 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 yeah.
for an 89-year-old man, right? Who's a
Mm.
Holocaust survivor. So I pick up the phone and I hear Shiggy, Shiggy, it's your father, Ezra. And I'm just like, yes, dad, hi, what's up? Are you okay? What's going on? It's like, oh, I have some things I need to tell you. And then one of his kids, Arza, um, she comes onto the phone. She's like, Shiggy, I'm really, really sorry, but your mother passed away. And I'm just like, oh, okay. How did she pass away? Like, literally, I was expecting that to happen, which is a
Mm.
weird vibe to have. But literally, after everything that had happened in the past, maybe it was just like, yeah, of course that was going to happen. I was like, okay, natural causes because she had thyroid issues and she had all of these things. No. And she's like, oh, she shot herself. Like, I felt like I just got shot. All right. Maybe I should have put a trigger warning on before that. I'm sorry. But yeah. They literally, I was just like, oh, she shot herself. And I'm like, oh, oh. And I screamed. Like, I have not screamed that loud or that from the gut
Mm.
probably since I had a major freak out at the age of 5, 6 when I had a skiing accident and sliced my face open. That's the last time I can remember, like, the primal kind of like just,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And yeah, it's in Fulham, and a lot of people are very English.
Mm.
Okay. When they see someone who's hugely emotional, they just give you all the space, all the
Mm.
physical space. It's like, we're just gonna go
Yeah,
across the road and then come back. Which is quite funny.
gosh, such a British thing to do, isn't it?
It really is. But the thing that kind of got me with that is they said it was with a gun. And I'm like, I know exactly what gun it was
Oh,
because
wow.
I have shot that gun. Because when we were kind of on better terms, she had a personal Magnum .357 caliber revolver. Right. So it's not even a magazine kind of like the talk is
Mhm.
assisted or anything.
Mhm.
This is a
Mhm.
revolver and you have to
Mhm.
squeeze
Mhm.
for England to get one of those stupid bullets out of the thing. Okay. Like, it threw my shoulder out. All right. And if anyone listening, wherever you are right now, you might want to mute it right now because I'm going to go not into gory detail, but I'm going to explain it because the impact is kind of what is going through me at the time of hearing this. She shot herself through her chin into her head.
Oh, goodness me.
Okay. And she did this deliberately because I learned that she was trying to commit suicide before and she wanted to
Mhm.
go this way. But she didn't because she didn't want anyone to deal with the amount of brain matter that would be across the entire freaking room.
So
Okay.
she'd
And
actually thought about how she was going to do it, like, because that creates less of a wow. Okay. Okay.
exactly. I mean, she watched the History Channel in the States like a mad person. Like, there's those funny TikTok memes where they're just like, Sandra goes home and watches like serial murder documentaries. That was my mom.
Wow.
So, that's her just
Wow.
understanding. So that's how she went. Um, and then what happened after that was like, I call it the crusade because like it was amazing to feel how my bits of family across the world all kind of bandied together. And I had my stepdad called and he said, what do you need? And I was just like, I might need some help with accommodation. I'm gonna go stay in Airbnb. He's like, no, you're gonna stay in a hotel. And I'm like, I'm gonna be there for a month. He's like, you're staying in a hotel. I need you to be able to sleep and at least have a few good meals whilst you're dealing
Mm.
with this. And the kids weren't too happy about that, but he didn't care. He's like, I'm her father and I'm going to do what a father does. And I'm just like, damn, okay. Other family members dealt with a lot of the stuff in Kenya because if you guys don't know, funerals in Africa are very different. They can be very Christian, but at the same time, like they last 2 weeks for one.
There is something like, yeah, there's a Christian element, but there's also a tribal element to it. And it happens in my culture as well. It's not like a 1-2 day thing. Like
No,
there is a lot going on, and it becomes a kind of mourning, a celebration, a party, a farewell, and it's all, everything rolled into one on different days, isn't it?
exactly. So
Yeah.
I told my Kenyan side of the family, I'm like, look, by the time I get to Kenya, I'm going to be exhausted. So all I am is an urn holder. Okay, tell me where I need to
Mm,
go, tell me where I need to stand. I will not be saying anything on the microphone because unfortunately, they didn't know this. They didn't need to know it. But I didn't really have a good word to say about my mom at the time because I was really annoyed
mm,
with everything. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll type something that kind of does what it needs to do. But ultimately, I am not here. So this
yeah.
is like all the masks mushed together into like the biggest protective bubble you can imagine,
Mm,
right? Because I have to go and do all of this BS. And I cannot afford to fall apart. I cried so many times when I was in the States. Like I have a video that I recorded of myself just like saying stuff. I still haven't watched it to this day. I don't want to watch it.
no, but it gave you the outlet you needed at the time to kind of put that emotion somewhere, I suppose. And I've got to say that's probably part of the self-sufficiency that you've had to always deal with, isn't it?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like you'd rather put it somewhere there than go speak to someone or what. And I 100% get that. Like I've been like that as well. It's like you internalize, but we're very good at coping with that, with the mask or whatever it is that we need to do to just get on. So we've been talking for ages. So and this is such an important subject and I don't want to brush over it, but what did you learn from that situation that then took you forward in your life about what's important for your own well-being and your happiness?
So from that, like the biggest thing is like community and not being an island. Because the problem with
I
being
got the shivers when
humans,
you said that.
I mean, I got that too, just because my mother decided to be an island,
Mm,
which is strange considering we're part of a tribal space that has 1,000 of us at least. Right? When I went to my grandmother's funeral, they had to raise the maize fields. They had to like flatten the maize fields to accommodate for the amount of
wow.
people that showed up. For my
Mm,
mother, there wasn't as many, but it was still a thing, right? Because of who we are. And this is why I glossed over very quickly
community. Mm,
the thing. But my grandmother was the woman of the village. Literally, she built a parish and all of that stuff. But my mother opted to being an island. And even as an island, there was still a lot of family support. And
yeah.
I felt that both times,
Mm,
and I vowed from then to never ever let myself become an island. Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of threw me into an island space and I've thrived. But at the same time, mentally, I didn't really do so well. I had many, many,
mm,
many, many dark dog days. And that's why I have a cat, because he knows what's up. And then when I am having a bad day, even if I push him away, he'll sit on me and just be
mm.
like, you need calming, and also you need to like be have your hands busy
Yeah, yeah,
so your
yeah.
hands can't go do stupid things.
Very clever. Very, very
So
clever. Very
yeah,
clever.
very, very clever
I love
kitty.
what you said
So
there. Don't be an island, and that's something that a lot of us do when we're experiencing. Well, we've come from a place of trauma, self sufficiency, and actually asking for help. And I know that's one of the things that you don't do very well, do you? And hence why we are sat here today. Is
yeah.
because sometimes, I'm going to say this to everyone watching, if you know someone who deserves to share their story, to share their wisdom, to be supported, please champion them. Please do it. And when I saw you do this the other week, I was like, nah, I can't keep quiet. I've got to do it. And then I was like, oh, I hope I can do it justice because I don't even know if I can. But, I just wanted you to be exposed to more people with your story. And I think for me, I know a little bit of a story, but I didn't know as much as this. And so thank you. Thank you for sharing so much, particularly what you just shared at the end. And I feel like we haven't given it justice and we really need to at some point because grief in itself can drive you in so many different directions. But the reason we're here today is not only for Chiggy to do that, but you've called this your 2022 course correction. Is that, I can't see the whole title, but that's it. That's what you called it, right?
Yeah, and then a better phrase kind of came through this morning whilst I was in the shower, the big reset. So it's
Yeah,
it's a course correction, but it's a reset. So
it's a reset. Okay, but I like to see you as meandering because that's what you've done. You meander, pick up the opportunities, you enjoy life, you follow on the path. You're not blocking anything, and you're exploring, and you continually dive into things, and that's what I love about you. And from a business perspective on my page, I just kind of before I came on, I was trying to record a video, and basically everything you've said just does it. I don't need to record the video anymore because you've said it. But it is about not missing the opportunities, knowing that you're more resilient, that you understand. What else would you say, Chiggy? Just not overlooking those little gems, catching them. And I'm talking for you. Please tell me. What would you
yeah, yeah,
say?
yeah. I mean, everything that's happened today has been a case of just letting chips fall, letting chips fall on an open hand.
Mm,
Um, which is interesting
love
considering like, having a big ask um is the most uncomfortable thing
that.
for me because I'm throwing my chips out and
Mm,
hoping they land.
mm.
Which
So
clearly, as you can see, makes me kind of uncomfortable. But yeah.
yeah, but this is the thing. This is what, when I started, I said, you've got so much humility and there's no ego and you're just kind of doing your thing and you're like, come on, like if you're in this journey, come on, follow me, whether that's on social media, whether that's in my life, come get involved in the community. And that's where you're headed towards, because the goal, the ambition, the path is to go back to Kenya, isn't it? It's for you to go and qualify in, I'm not going to say it right, Budokan, is that right?
Yeah, Budokan, yes.
Really fun. Okay. So you can take movement back home, so you can better people's lives. And all of that does take support. So Shiggy has put her buy her a coffee link, and do it again, please, Shiggy, because I'm going to keep saying it. Please
Done
go
it.
buy her a coffee. Because if you've enjoyed this, if you got anything out of it, and I do feel like there's more to talk about here, please, please, please support her, because I'm going to go back to what you said before. And you said, if I do things that make me happy and they make other people happy, what was it you said? You kind of done your job, haven't you? But
Yeah,
you're doing
like that,
it just fulfilling yourself. It's an
like
extension of
my
you.
biggest thing for sure. It's just like I've tried so many things, so many things. I worked in an office and got depression. Um, it's just like the
Have
simplest
you done
thing.
stand up? Have you done stand up?
It's on the list. Like
You've done
I would
the
happily do a self-deprecating stand-up thing about my
It's
entire
so good.
life. I probably will do
It's
that
so
when
good.
I'm 40. It's in 4
40.
years time. I'm 25. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. So it's a case of when I'm happy. Like my happiest space is when I'm learning. Because I love learning. I find everything fascinating. Like I find people fascinating, right? And when it reaches a point when someone asks me a question and I'm like, ooh, we can talk about it because I learned some things and stuff and I want to give it to you and then maybe it'll help you learn some things and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that's all it is. And
Mm,
music and DJing has lasted a test of time with me because that's what it constantly is,
yeah.
indirectly or directly. Like Shazam has stolen half of my profits because people are on the dance floor going, "What is this song?" with their phone rather than coming up and asking me, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Cool. I'm okay with that. But it's still that feedback loop and just kind of covering everything because it's like when people go onto the link, you guys are probably kind of going, "What the hell? What is that number? It's huge." I'm going to put it out here. It's £15,000, right? And I finally put everything together, and I'm saying that name for that number for a reason because it terrifies the crap out of me as a number, and I'm trying to own it, right?
Mm.
It's
Mm.
£15,000 covers doing this Budokan certification, which is 500 hours. It's a whole month, right, out in the US. At the same time, after that, I can go to Oregon and go see my baby brother, who discovered my mom's suicide. In fact, his hand was on the door when she shot herself.
Oh.
And I didn't have enough time to look after him, right?
Mm.
I just had to make sure he was safe and then get the apartment done, and then I had to leave to go back to Kenya. And he's been through a lot because he's got
Mm.
Asperger's, right?
Mm.
And he had my mom as his carer, and then obviously he doesn't have a carer, and all of a sudden he's just independently on his own because my stepfather, passed away in August 2020. And we
Right.
don't know if it's for COVID related reasons or not, because me and that side of the family, we do not get on, and we just kind of do what we need to, and that's about it, right?
Mm. Mm.
So going to Oregon, where my brother currently is, and saying thank you to my cousin Malika, who's 3 months older than me, right? She, I'm not gonna cry.
So, all right, darling, let it out, let it out, let it out. And if I'm not mistaken, Malaika actually means angel, doesn't it, in Swahili?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, I said I wasn't gonna cry. Shit.
They wash the soul.
Okay. She helped from getting a report from the police before they even finished writing it for me to renew my passport to go to the States. And
Take a moment. I'm going to interject just for a moment. Why is this so important? Because Chiggy has been so brave courageous to share this story, but not only share the story, that she has put it out there to the universe, to you guys, to everyone watching. This is what I want. Help me make it happen, right? And whether that is you buy her a coffee, you link her up somewhere, you work with her, doesn't matter what it is, you share her posts, you like what she does, you say, you do all the stuff to support a business and someone who's lived through this story. Please do it. Please do it. Because everything we have, if we don't pay it forward, the energy doesn't make the world go round. And this is so important. And I go back to what she said. She does things that make her happy so she can make other people happy, right? Buy her a coffee, make her happy. I feel like I'm a fundraiser here, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it because I didn't, I came on here and I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to say. We've got a few notes, but it's gone beautifully. So what happened with Malika? So she did the report so you could get your passport sorted so that you could get out there.
yep. So she is in Oregon. She is in the north. Is it the northwest part of America? All right, which is
Mm-hmm.
just miles away from anything. And she managed through phone calls and friends from Georgia, because that's where we were all for a while. She managed to pull all the strings, right, to get that police report sent over as a PDF so I could send it to the Dutch embassy to renew my passport because my passport had just expired. Um, she got her uncle, who was not doing very well, but he helped through, um, to go down and take my brother out of that space because there was no way he was going to sleep over in that space in the
Mm-hmm.
home. So she got
Yeah.
my uncle to help. Um, and beyond that, after I got everything kind of sorted out, um, she made sure he was kind of being looked after in Atlanta for a while. And then with the Israeli side of the family, who were very, very difficult to deal with, she
Mm-hmm.
got them to kind of fix up. My brother, for some reason, decided to fly over to Oregon, right? So he did. And then she did the most to get him a home. To get him registered on the state system, to get him a social security. Well, he already had a social security number, but just to get him set up, because Oregon is a lot more um future thinking, forward thinking with neurodivergent people.
Mm-mm.
So she's done the most, and like she's got two kids of her own and her whole entire family and life to deal with. But like, we're all family, and she looked after my brother. And
Yeah,
I need to go over and say thank you in person because
right.
she's dealt with some crap.
Yeah. So there's a
We'll call
depth
that.
of gratitude. There's a desire to see your brother as, of course. There is some learning to be done so you can spread that knowledge and that happiness a little bit more. Chiggy, that was amazing. I kind of feel like there needs to be a part 2, 3, 4, 5.
I am gonna throw together a video just so people kind of understand in a more kind of concise way on that link. I'm gonna do the
Right.
video tomorrow and just put
Okay.
all these pieces together because
Yeah.
it is a huge ask, but like ultimately I want to go back home. I love rock climbing and the farm isn't being used for anything at the moment, and I want it to come back to life as a
Mhm.
self-sufficient farm where we grow everything from the ground
Wow.
up, we eat everything from the ground. People can hike across the equator if they want to. I love bouldering, and there are pebbles, rocks across the land that look like a giant has just kind of like broken them and just thrown them on the floor. And no one's like
Wow.
has
Yeah.
access to that. And then the Budokan thing comes into me learning and teaching as well, so I can open up a mixed combat fitness space on the coast, like they do in Thailand, but it's in Kenya because
Amazing.
Kenya's great.
Amazing.
So
Kenny
it's a
is
lot of
beautiful.
things.
It's a lot of things. Wow. I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know what more to say. Um, Everyone watching on every platform, thank you for staying with us. And if you have made it this far, please do share this, okay? Because it's a really important story. There's so many elements of this that we just did not have the time to fully go into. And I want to honor them as much as we possibly can. So, Chiggy, one more time for everyone's on, drop that link in. And when I share this, I will also have this link. Please go buy her a coffee. Let help her achieve this because she's going to benefit so many people. And not only that, take it as inspiration about the phrase you use: catch the opportunities with open hands. Right? You caught
Yeah,
the
that's
opportunities
the
as they drop with open hands. You got some lovely phrases in there, like Shiggisms, and I think you should share them. They're really, really good. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And yeah, I think we'll connect again at some point. Love you all. Thank you. I'm going to sign off of Instagram right now. Thank you guys for watching.
let's do that. And on
Okay.
StreamYard, thank you so much. Like I know Facebook is a bit weird with comments. So if you guys have been throwing comments, I'm about to jump back onto Facebook to go see what's good because it didn't pop up on here. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for watching me cry. I've never done that in public. Like, holy crap.
I have to say, my thing is I make everyone cry at some point in their life. I do it. So thank you for feeling safe enough to do it. Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much,
much,
everyone.
Az.
All right. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.